This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today I want to go through, well, basically, it's not about the cards you're dealt, it's how you deal with them. Funnily enough, I came across this quote that I posted like 6 years ago, 5 years ago or something, and I'm like, well, I probably see things a little bit different now, but at the core of it, I still really believe that. I still really believe that it's not about the cards that you're dealt, it's how you deal with them. And what I mean when I say that, it's like in any given situation, we have a choice. And sometimes we get mistaken thinking that there's a good choice and a bad choice. And that's not true. Sometimes things are really difficult and we have a shit choice and a shitter choice. Or a good and a great choice, right? And like that's one of the things that we neglect to realize, that not everything is good and bad. Sometimes it just is. Like, in fact, that all the times it just is. And we put the connotation of good or bad onto it, right? Based upon how we interpret reality, right? And so two people can look at the exact same thing. One say good, one say bad, right? It's the same thing. It just is what it is, and how you respond to it is everything. So the cards that you're dealt, it's actually how you play those cards. And I say that in the sense that think of a card game as a continuous game, not just a one-off game, right? Because in life, you're going to have continual games. And Jordan Peterson talks about this. He says, like, it's not about winning a game. It's about being able to, or in how he says it, being invited back to play a set of games throughout your life, because you're constantly in this flow of making decisions about what's going to be best for your life. And often we freeze because we want to make good judgment, but we have to remember that, like, in order to have good judgment, it means that we have good experience, right? More often than not. And to get good experience means that we've probably made some bad judgments, which was probably poor experience, right? Like, it's understanding that we were only ever one decision away from a good decision, whatever you interpret that to be. And so what I really truly mean, it's more about how you play the cards rather than the cards that you were dealt with. It's like, this is the current situation, what can you do? And the reason why I say that is because the future should play a more important role than the past in shaping the present moment, right? Do you hear that? It's not using the present moment to shape the future, it's using the future to shape the present moment as well. It's like, where do I want to be and who do I have to be right now in order to become that individual? And this is the thing about the process of unraveling ourselves. It's like, you know, you'll be happy when you get there, but you'll be sad that it's over. And what that means is that, like, when you think that you arrive, you'll be happy. You'll get your dopamine. Yeah, it's all backed up. Don't worry. But then you'll have no purpose. This is why, like, even fucking Bill Gates goes to work. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to sit on a beach for a little while, drink some pina coladas, and get people to come and bring you alcohol? Yeah, that'll be good existence. You'll see how long that lasts for, right? This is why we need meaning and purpose and responsibilities, because it actually gives us a reason to have some sort of meaning in this existential life of ours, right? And the beauty of it is that if we can continually go in and unravel ourselves and do the work necessary day by day, you know, removing rock by rock, in understanding how we react and why we react, understand that's not the right way to react to something, that is the way that you reacted to something, in that is a choice. And it's observing your feelings, it's not being your feelings. And these things start to become really crucial, because it looks at, like, you know, let's say you're listening to this in the morning. It means that for the rest of this day, the day ahead of you, you have hundreds, if not more, decisions to make. From, like, when to put on your blinker, to what to have for lunch, to should you text that person back. And if you are not conscious, If you want, this is what's going to fucking happen. If you're not conscious, you're just going to run old fucking patterns. They're called reactions. You're reacting something that used to serve you in the past. Chances are, for most people, it's not serving you today because they were wired when you were young. And so the thing about this is that next thing, if you're going to choose, and it is a decision, to live subconsciously or unconsciously most of the time rather than living consciously, what's going to happen is you're going to wake up and you're going to be fucking resentful. You're going to wake up one day, right? Because people never treated you right, realizing that you never treated you right? You like, people never gave me a chance because you never gave you a chance. No one owes you anything. Nothing, right? No one owes you a fucking thing. They don't owe you a fucking text back. They don't owe you a promotion just because you got a fucking degree or anything. Nothing, right? So you rock up. You rock up and you look at your cards and you play the fucking game as best you can. This is so crucial for us because we are the reason we don't move forward, because we know that blaming outside of us never allows us to grow and develop. Now, I'm not saying there's not difficulties or there's unfairness or injustice in the world. There's injustices, rather. There's so many of that, like so much of that, right? Like I get it. There is. But you got to continue to rock up. Just complaining is not doing anything good for it. If anything, it gives it power and gives you weakness because you make it bigger than you. And that's what one of the core issues is that it's not bigger than you. You have to make yourself bigger than your problems. Otherwise, they will consume you. It'll be the dragon all over again. So you can't use the same thinking that created the problem. You got to change it. You got to play the game differently. You got to evolve. You got to adapt. That's how it works. And then, you know what? You get to the end and you realize that it was all a fucking game, right? You sit there, laugh at it because you're stressed, but it was so simple. It was so simple. You just trust yourself in the present moment every chance you get to deal with reality, and know that you're not. Success is not a picture in the future. It's a moment in the present state that you're in right now. Like, that is your ability to deal with reality right now. That is what success is. Even if you have a shot and you miss, that's still more successful than the person that's sitting there trying to create an argument of how they're going to fight with the boss in the future in their head. They never fucking say anything. Like, no one owes you anything, right? And I say this because I've had to say this shit to myself. I sit there complaining and whining about how I think things should be and people should do this and I treat them better so they should treat me better. And where does it get me? Fucking nowhere. It gets you nowhere. It just, you respond to it emotionally, your state, your physiology changes, all that changes. It's pathetic. And I'm not saying you are. I'm saying that state is. It's not resourceful. I want this, but the world's against me. No, it's not. The world is for you. You're born, right? Do you know the chances of being born? You get that. In today's world, oh, the world's so bad. Are you fucking serious? The world is in the most amazing time ever. Like I've said before, you hear my voice across time and space, no matter what, on this thing in your hand that can tell you anything. That has significantly more information than the whole fucking Encyclopedia Britannica did growing up. Like, we have all these resources. We have the most doctors, most nutritionists. We have the highest access to information, to education, to knowledge, to people, and we're unhappy. We're dissatisfied. So let's fucking download an app. Your happiness is not on the other side. It's how you play the game. And there's another thing around that, is that there's actually no game, but that's a whole nother conversation. But for now, it's understanding, what do I have and what can I do with what I have? What's in my control? And you put your focus there and you step one foot further forward. And right now there's a project coming up in your head, a project or some sort of goal that you may have, or maybe it's to start your own hobby business, or maybe it's a business, or maybe it's study, maybe it's breaking up with your partner because you've been a fucking shithead and know that you've been shit. I've been there. God, I dragged that shit on for way too long. It does no one good, and you feel bad about it. Rip the Band-Aid off. I know that's a simple approach. I know, I get it. But the next thing, you'll have kids and you don't know who the fuck they are. Not just the kids, but your spouse. You got to make a decision. And it's the same thing with your boss. Same thing. You don't get this time back. Guys, it's Friday. If you listen to this on Friday, that is. Otherwise, it's whatever day you're listening to it on. But all I wish for you is a strength to kick today in the dick to slay the dragon. Okay? That's all I want. Team, I'm out. If you enjoyed this podcast, I'd love it if you share it with a friend that you think would also enjoy it. And as always, thank you so much for you guys that are sharing on social media and tagging me. It's awesome seeing that. I really appreciate that. And jump on Facebook. You'll find Mood Prep Online. I put all the resources and stuff that I talk about this podcast in there, and there's a conversation happening, and I put polls in there to see what you guys want to hear more about. So, yeah, jump on there. Otherwise, team, as always, thank you very much for listening. I've already said it, but I'll say it again. Peace and pizza. Kick today in the dick. Slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.
To be everything at once, be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.